everyone. Welcome to our podcast. I'm He Mingke.
I'm Chen Jie.
I'm Liu Yushen.
I'm Fan Zhiyu.
Today, we're exploring a question that sounds simple, but it's actually much deeper than it seems. Is culture material or ideological? From the object we touch, to the rules that shape our cities, to the habits of our bodies and the values in our minds, culture is everywhere, and it's never just one thing. In this podcast, we will walk you through 4 perspectives. So put on your headphones and let's explore what culture feels like, both in the world and inside us.
When we talk about culture, what comes to your mind first? Maybe food, clothes, buildings, or technology, or maybe beliefs, values, norms, and ideas. In sociology, culture is never just one thing. So here's an important sociological question. Is culture material or is it ideological? Today we will explore this from a sociological perspective. From the early anthropologist Taylor to modern scholars such as Sweeter, Williams, and Zerubbabel, scholars have been exploring what culture actually is and how it shapes our daily life. For B. Taylor is one of the first scholars to offer a definition of culture. He defined that the culture is a complex one, which includes knowledge, belief, art, morals, law, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. When we talk about the influence of culture on our society, there are also many sociologists give us answers. First, Sweeter defined that culture influences action, not by providing the ultimate values toward which action is oriented, but by shaping a repertoire or toolkit of habits, skills, and styles. Williams specifies that culture is ordinary. It is one of the ways in which people live and make sense of their lives. Zerubbabel indicates that culture provides the shared categories through which people perceive and interpret the world. After discussing that, let's return to this question. Is culture material or is it ideological? The answer is that culture has duality. Material culture is what we touch, and ideological culture is what we believe. First, we will introduce material culture, which includes but is not limited to food and eating habits, architecture and space, technology and tools. Also, the ideological culture was equally important as the material culture. It is not something we can touch, but it deeply shapes how we understand the world. It includes values, beliefs, religion, philosophy, and moral norms. According to Weber, ideas have a power of our own in shaping social action. However, these two types of culture aren't independent. They can be transformed into each other and influence each other. We will talk about that in the following opinions.
Section 2. The materialization of ideals, institutions, norms, and physical carries. In this section, I want to explore a key sociology question. How do abstract ideals turn into real institutions, norms, and physical things that shape our daily lives? Put simply, ideals become things. Today, I will use 5 concrete examples, some from China and some from overseas, to show how ideals materialize. Case 1. Institutionalization. How Shanghai's waste sorting policy materialized environmental ideals. At first, let's watch a video.
始的时候有一些不习惯，因为垃圾桶突然撤掉了，都不知道往哪里扔，而且有时间规定，然后有的时候就把垃圾又带回来了。志愿者有的时候都是直接上门，带着材料跟我们再说一遍，东西发到我手上，然后再亲自跟我们讲一下的。
通过我们一个志愿服务，居民跟我们的距离越来越近了，反复的在跟居民宣传，我们要从源头上来减量，要在生活中减少垃圾的产生。
In 2019, Shanghai implemented strict waste sorting rules. People even line up for training. And what kind of garbage are you? Become a viral meme. But behind the humor is a classic process of materializing ideals. The ideal is environmental sustainability. The institution is local regulation and penalties. The physical carriers is colored bins, collection points, and QR code systems. The behavioral outcomes is that everyone must learn to and complete how to sort waste. In this case, an environmental idea became physical objects and schedules shaping everyday behaviors. Case 2. Normalization. Japanese queue lines, order written on the ground. Every time Japanese train station redraw their queue lines, it makes a news. Passengers comment online. The new footprints making me nervous, or now I have to stand farther back. It is a typical materialization of norms. The ideal is order and fairness. The norm is the queuing rules. The physical carriers is footprints, arrows, and railings. The behavioral outcome is that people queue even without supervision. In this case, it shows that norms aren't stored in the mind, they're embedded in the lines on the floor. Case 3. Objectification. UK stores use classical music security embedded in sound waves. BBC reported that Tesco and Co-op stores in the UK played loud classical music to discourage teenagers from loitering. It sounds absurd, but the logic is clear. The ideal is public safety. The norm is certain groups shouldn't linger. The physical carrier is speakers and playlists. The behavioral outcome is that the teenagers actually leave. One manager joked, Beethoven had become our gentlest security guard. In this case, we can see that sometimes an ideal takes the form of a melody. Case 4. Isologic and algorithmic materialization. Delivery readers and countdown timer. Between 2020 and 2023, Chinese delivery platforms' algorithms were heavily reported by media. The app countdown keeps shrinking, forcing readers to rush. The ideal is efficiency first. The institution is platform rules and ratings. The physical carriers is countdown UI, navigation, and vibration alert. The behavioral outcome is that the reader is trained by algorithmic pressure. One reader said, I'm not delivering food, I'm raising the time. In this case, when ideal enter algorithms, it becomes institution power. Case 5. Interface materialization. Airbnb's hidden purple photos and anti-discrimination design. In the US, Airbnb was exposed for hosts rejecting bad guys based on profile photos. Airbnb responded by redesigning the interface. Photos hidden before booking, names reduced to initials, and de-emphasized profiles. The chain in this case is very clear. The ideal is fairness, anti-discrimination. The institution is anti-discrimination policy. The physical carriers is hidden photos and multiple profiles. The behavioral outcome is that the buyer is removed from decision-making process. In this case, it told us that anti-discrimination isn't a slogan, it's an interface choice. In conclusion, the ideals gain power only when materialized. Across all 5 cases, we see the same pathway: ideal, institution, norm, material carrier, and then behavior. The environmental ideals become color beams. Order become lines on the platform. Security become classical music. Efficiency became top-down interfaces. Quality become pre-layout platform photos. Abstract concepts only matter once they are materialized, once they are built into our environment and daily routines.
Now let's move to the third part. Material culture shapes society in release. It actively influences how we interact, behave, and think through its own logic and feature. Materials are embodied cultural capital. They inherently shape the world around us. When material enter circulation, they shape in rule we live by. Take shared bike, 共享单车. They change the urban mobility, scan the code to ride and park in regulated spots. This simple rule not only guides usage but also push cities to improve cycling infrastructure, gradually creating a new way to move around. Once such material products become part of daily life, their design, use, and placement form real-world systems that shape behavior through routines. In Quanzhou, Zanhua have evolved from a traditional accessory into symbol of intangible cultural heritage arts. Tourists enjoy photographing themselves with them to connect with the culture. This popularity has flooded new business such as photo tours and cultural souvenirs, boosting the local economy. It shows how culture can give ordinary projects deeper meaning. Once give cultural significance, they become more than objects but shared identity. Material and technological innovation are transforming collaboration, digital intangible culture in heritage technologies, such as 3D modeling for virtual tie-dyeing online classrooms, break time and space berries, enabling cloud-based cultural transmission. This improves cultural preservation efficiency and community culture management. Illustrates how technology and society shape each other. As material and teach evidence, they enhance productivity and collaboration, influencing how communities govern and preservation culture. These three key mechanisms transform material culture from a passive carry into an active force, demonstrating the dynamic interplay between material and society.
Let me conclude our today's podcast. The culture in China nowadays shows that it is not a static thing, but a living and dynamic process. The vitality of culture is derived from the continual interaction between its material form and conceptual form. One example is the revival of ethnic, intangible heritage through a creative fashion show. Nowadays, lots of our young Chinese designers and creators are reclaiming traditions such as Miao embroidery and batik, which used to be confined only to the village. and transforming them into global cultural expressions. Here I put a screenshot of a news article stating that the designer Yang Chunlin founded a brand that combines traditional Miao embroidery with streetwear to create modern heritage costumes. Through this combination, the embroidery, which is a material form, acquires new conceptual value, cultural identity, fashion, and the feeling of belonging. These traditional cultures become a media of intergeneration transmission, aesthetic innovation, and global cultural exchange. Let us watch a video about it.
最初，春梯只是一个展示苗族刺绣服饰的小舞台，而如今，它已经慢慢变成了向前面展现生活美学斑斓画卷。日本大阪世博会上，外国观众追着打听这一精美刺绣在哪里购买。我们希望通过贵州春梯，让贵州灿烂的民族文化与时尚潮流深度交融，让传统文化在新时代绽放全新活力，让贵州多彩飞向全球。我们也欢迎全世界一起来春梯。
By the way, have you ever used VR? Cultural tradition has been reimagined in immersive digital and heritage tourism contest. A recent VR exhibition in Hainan invited audience to experience the life of Su Shi, which merged literature, history, and modern technology to make all culture accessible and emotional resonant. Let us watch a brief video about the VR show.
你可算到了，走，饮茶去。我想用淤泥在湖中修一道长堤，可大为缩短湖面两端往返距离。来，我带你去看看。 这弟弟自小同我形影不离，也不知他近来可好。莫听穿林打叶声，谈笑间樯橹灰飞烟灭。人有悲欢离合，左前黄右擎苍，好月阴晴圆缺。从今日起，便是。 东坡居士，此事古难全，自有奇绝，冠平生。但愿人长久，千里共婵娟。
Through the digitization, heritage becomes more than relics behind the glass in the museum. It becomes part of our everyday social experience, reaching and shaping real people's consciousness. In conclusion, culture is living when ideas are internalized, expressed, and practiced rather than remaining stationary. It is a mistake for us to treat culture only as either material or conceptual. It has both. Culture is a dynamic socialization process and an ongoing construction where material and conceptual elements fit into each other. Through these processes, culture becomes a socializing force, shaping identities, values, aesthetics, and social cohesion.
And that brings us to the end of today's podcast. We started with the concept of culture, looked at how ideals materialized, and explored how material culture shapes society in return. These ideals may sound abstract, but they are embedded in our daily experiences. Walking past a queue line, clicking through the interface, hearing a short announcement, or throwing away trash. Culture is quietly shaping us through every tiny detail. Perhaps culture is never simply material or ideological, but an ongoing interaction where the two shape each other. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed our conversation, and we'll see you next time.